Imagine you're checking into a five-star hotel. The lobby smells like money, polished marble, perfume, and promise. You swipe your card, hand over your passport, and head upstairs thinking you're safe behind a locked door. But what if, at that very moment, someone on the other side of the world was quietly watching, logging every detail of your stay, every country you visited, every passport scanned at the front desk? For 4 years, no one knew. 4 years. Half a decade of silence, during which hackers lived deep inside one of the world's biggest hotel networks, quietly stealing the private data of over 500 million travelers. This is the story of how a hospitality company became a target in a global intelligence war, and how the Marriott Starwood breach exposed the fragile line between corporate failure and national espionage. It began quietly in 2014, long before Marriott even owned Starwood hotels. Somewhere in Starwood's vast network of servers, which managed reservations for Sheraton, Westin, W Hotels, and St. Regis, a tiny, almost invisible piece of malware appeared. No one noticed. The attackers had slipped in using stolen credentials, moving laterally through the system, embedding themselves deep into databases that contained names, addresses, phone numbers, passport details, and travel records. Each login was like a skeleton key, unlocking access to the world's travelers, politicians, diplomats, executives, and even intelligence agents. This wasn't a smash-and-grab data theft. This was residency. The hackers didn't want money. They wanted information. And they were patient. For the next 4 years, they lived inside Starwood's servers like ghosts. How could a company as massive as Starwood, later acquired by Marriott International, not see what was happening? The truth is, by the mid-2010s, the hospitality industry had become a goldmine for hackers. Hotels collect massive amounts of personal data: passports, credit cards, loyalty accounts, travel itineraries. Yet, cybersecurity was rarely a top priority. Starwood's systems were sprawling, outdated, and fragmented across continents. It was a network so complex that no one could see the full picture. Security patches were inconsistent, logs were incomplete. Firewalls were old. By the time Marriott acquired Starwood in 2016, they inherited not just the brand, but the breach. The malware was already there, hidden like a sleeping virus. The attackers had found the perfect blind spot, a merger between two global giants, where IT teams were distracted by integration and data migration. They didn't have to break in again. They were already home. Fast forward to September 2018. A security tool inside Marriott's system detected suspicious activity in the Starwood database. The IT team followed the digital trail, and what they found made their blood run cold. Someone had been inside their network for 4 years. The hackers were pulling data from deep archives, encrypting it, compressing it, and sending it off in chunks to remote servers. When investigators decrypted some of the stolen files, the scale of the damage became clear. 500 million guests affected. 327 million with passport numbers, travel details, birth dates, addresses, and loyalty accounts. Some records even contained credit card numbers. Others detailed where and when guests stayed across the globe. It wasn't just personal information. It was movement data. And in the world of intelligence, knowing where people sleep can mean the difference between secrecy and exposure. When Marriott went public with the breach in November 2018, the world erupted. Customers were furious. Privacy advocates called it one of the biggest data breaches in history. But intelligence agencies saw something else, a pattern. The fingerprints on the Marriott attack looked eerily similar to those seen in other high-profile hacks. The U.S. Office of Personnel Management breach in 2015, which exposed sensitive background checks of government employees, and the Anthem healthcare hack, which compromised the records of 80 million Americans. The coding signatures, techniques, and server infrastructure all pointed to the same suspected actor: Chinese state-sponsored hackers. Marriott never confirmed it, but U.S. investigators believe the breach was part of a sweeping effort by Beijing to build massive intelligence databases, tracking who travels where, when, and with whom. If those suspicions were true, this was no longer just a corporate data breach. It was espionage, a modern spy tool built from hotel check-ins and passport scans. If you know where diplomats stay, you can predict meetings. If you know a CEO's travel schedule, you can anticipate negotiations. If you know an intelligence officer's hotel history, you can map their network. The breach wasn't about money, it was about power. Cybersecurity experts began calling it the human supply chain of espionage. By cross-referencing travel data from Marriott with OPM records and airline databases, a nation-state could detailed profiles of global elites. Marriott became an unwilling player in a quiet war for information dominance. In the months that followed, Marriott faced a storm. Regulators in the United Kingdom fined the company £18 million. Class action lawsuits piled up. The brand's reputation took a hit, especially among business travelers and government clients. But the real cost wasn't money, it was trust. The breach forced every corporation to confront an uncomfortable truth. You can have marble lobbies, billion-dollar brands, and loyalty programs that track every preference, but if your data isn't safe, neither are your guests. Governments tightened data protection laws. Companies doubled cybersecurity budgets. Yet experts say the Marriott breach remains a warning, because the same methods could still work today. The Marriott case changed how we think about privacy and national security. It blurred the line between corporate data theft and state espionage. It showed that in the digital age, information is the new weapon, and every industry that collects it is a potential target. 4 years of silence, 500 million lives affected, and a question that still haunts investigators today. If a hotel chain can be used as an intelligence database, what else could be? So the next time you check into a hotel and hand over your passport, remember, behind that smile at the reception desk, behind the comfort of that room key, lies a vast ocean of data. And somewhere out there, someone may be watching how it moves. Because in the modern world, every check-in could be a checkmate.